The rain drizzled softly outside the cafe window, tracing thin silver lines down the glass as Ryan sat alone at the small corner table, nervously stirring his coffee that had long gone cold. He'd been there for nearly an hour, checking his phone every few minutes, glancing toward the door every time the little bell jingled, hoping the next person who entered would be her. Her name was Claire, or at least, that's what her profile had said. They had met on a dating app, one of those where every conversation felt shallow until one message changed everything. She wasn't like the others, her words carried warmth, a kind of sincerity that had pulled Ryan in when he least expected it. He wasn't looking for love, not after the heartbreak that had nearly broken him 2 years ago when his fiancée left days before their wedding. But something about Claire made him feel that perhaps, maybe, life still had something good waiting. Tonight was supposed to be their first date, her idea, actually. Let's meet in person. I think you'll like me better face to face, she'd written. He smiled at that line now, staring at the empty seat across from him, trying to imagine her there, smiling, laughing, brushing her hair behind her ear. But all that sat before him was silence, an untouched cup of tea the waiter had kindly placed there, just in case she shows up. Minutes turned to hours, and Ryan's hope began to fade. The cafe was nearly empty now, soft music humming in the background, the lights dimming to a warm amber glow. He sighed, picked up his coat, and was just about to leave when the doorbell chimed again. A small voice echoed through the room, soft, hesitant, yet so pure it froze him in place. "Excuse me, mister, are you Ryan?" He turned around slowly. Standing by the door was a little girl, maybe 6 or 7, her hair tied in a messy ponytail, her cheeks pink from the rain, holding a small pink umbrella that was dripping onto the floor. She looked up at him with wide, innocent eyes, the kind that held both courage and uncertainty. "My mommy's sorry she's late," she said, clutching her tiny purse close to her chest. "She told me to come first. She'll be here soon." Ryan blinked, utterly confused, setting his coat back down. "Your mommy?" he asked gently, kneeling to meet her eye level. The girl nodded earnestly. "Uh-huh. My mommy's name is Claire. She said to tell you she's very sorry and that she'll be here soon. She just had to stop for something important." The mention of her name hit him like a spark, Claire. So, this was really happening. He smiled, unsure whether to laugh or be nervous. "You're Claire's daughter?" he asked softly. "What's your name?" The girl grinned. "Lily," she said proudly. "I'm 7.5. Mommy says I'm her lucky charm." Something about her presence melted the awkwardness instantly. The staff watched from the counter with smiles as Ryan guided Lily to the table, offering her a chair. "Would you like some hot chocolate while we—" Ticking of the clock. There was something in her gaze, fear, relief, guilt, and something softer too. Ryan stood there, speechless, watching her gather herself. "You must be Ryan," she said finally, her voice trembling. I'm so sorry for being late." Something came up, something I couldn't ignore. He could see her eyes were red, like she'd been crying. "It's all right," he said softly, offering his jacket. "You made it. That's what matters." She hesitated before taking it, whispering a quiet thank you. They sat down again, this time the three of them together, Ryan, Claire, and little Lily in between, swinging her legs happily as if nothing had happened. Slowly, the air filled with laughter again. Claire apologized over and over, but Ryan only smiled. He didn't care about the delay anymore. Something about seeing her with her daughter stirred something inside him he hadn't felt in years, hope. As they talked, he learned fragments of her life. She was a nurse, working double shifts, raising Lily alone after her husband had left years ago. She had been afraid to date again, afraid of being judged for having a child. But she had taken a chance this time, telling herself she'd show up no matter how nervous she felt. "Except I didn't expect the hospital to call me right as I left," she said with a faint laugh. One of my patients needed me. I almost cancelled everything, but I didn't want to let you down. Ryan shook his head gently. You didn't. You showed up in the most unforgettable way possible. She blushed at that, her eyes meeting his, softly, gratefully. Time melted away as they spoke, laughter replacing the earlier awkwardness. Lily fell asleep halfway through, her head resting on her mother's lap. Ryan watched Claire stroke her daughter's hair and realized that maybe this blind date wasn't an accident at all. Maybe fate had arranged for two broken souls to find each other, using a little girl as the bridge. When they finally stood to leave, the rain had stopped. Ryan walked them to their car, holding the umbrella over both of them. You didn't have to wait, she said softly, her breath forming small clouds in the cool air. I did, he replied. Because sometimes, waiting is how you find the right person. She smiled, a tired, grateful smile that said more than words ever could. As they drove away, Ryan stood in the empty parking lot, watching the taillights fade into the night. The wind carried the faint echo of Lily's laughter. And for the first time in years, his heart didn't feel so lonely. The next morning, Ryan couldn't stop thinking about them, about the way Claire smiled when she thought no one was watching, about Lily's laughter echoing through the quiet café, about how something so unexpected had felt so right. He replayed it in his mind again and again, the rain, the apology, the connection. It wasn't just a date anymore, it felt like a turning point. He texted her that morning, hope you and Lily got home safe. Thanks for the most unexpected, wonderful night. She didn't reply for hours, and when his phone finally buzzed in the afternoon, the message was short but warm. We did. Thank you for waiting for me. Maybe we can meet again, this time without the rain. That was all it took. The spark was real. They started seeing each other more, small, simple meetings that grew into something deeper. Coffee breaks turned into dinners. Dinners turned into long walks through the park, where Lily would chase pigeons while Ryan and Claire talked about life, dreams, and regrets. Ryan learned that Claire's husband had left when Lily was just 2 years old. He'd promised to come back but never did. Since then, she had been working 2 jobs, trying to be both mother and father, healer and provider. There were nights she cried herself to sleep, praying Lily would never see her pain. But somehow, she kept smiling, because that's what mothers do. And in Ryan's quiet company, she found something she'd thought she'd lost, gentleness. He never judged, never pushed. He listened. When she laughed, he laughed with her. When she went silent, he didn't fill the silence, he respected it. One evening, they sat on a park bench while Lily fed ducks by the pond. Claire looked at him, her hair falling softly over her face. You know, she said quietly, I almost didn't come that night. I thought, what man would want to date a woman with a kid? Ryan smiled, watching Lily. Maybe the kind of man who's tired of pretending he's fine being alone, he said softly. Maybe the kind of man who was meant to find you. Her eyes shimmered then, not from sadness, but from recognition. As weeks turned into months, their connection deepened. Ryan became part of their little world, Saturday pancakes with Lily, movie nights at home, even school runs when Claire's shift went late. The people at Lily's school began to ask if he was her father, and though he wasn't, not yet, the way Lily's face lit up when she said, he's my mom's friend, but he's really nice, made Ryan's heart ache with joy. But not all stories flow smoothly. One night, as they sat on the couch watching a movie, Claire's phone rang. Her face changed as she listened. The voice on the other end was one she hadn't heard in years, the voice of Lily's father. He had found out about her new life, about Ryan, and suddenly, he wanted back in. I've changed, he said. I want to see my daughter. Claire was torn. She knew Lily needed a father, but she also remembered the nights he didn't come home, the promises he broke, the way he left them with nothing but silence. When she told Ryan, he didn't say much. He just nodded slowly, his chest tightening. Do you still love him? He asked quietly. Claire's eyes softened. No, she whispered. But I can't stop him from being her father. Ryan understood, even if it hurt. He didn't want to get in the way of something.